So everybody, welcome to today's stream. It's all about Gini Wijnaldum's substitution, if you see what I mean. Now this should normally be the match reaction day, but I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of an emergency transfer market assault because obviously now that Wijnaldum got injured, Thiago Pinto is now in a way forced again back in the midfielder transfer market with this Gini Wijnaldum situation. Again, if people aren't aware, Wijnaldum has broken his tibia in a training session after a collision against Afena Felix. And he will be out for the next couple of months. It all depends on the route he will take. If he will decide to get surgery, then it actually won't be too long. It will be around 2 to 3 months that he's going to be out for, especially with the World Cup. Things could go, kind of in the right way. But if he decides to not get surgery, then obviously without the surgery, things are going to get slower and slower. And Gini's kind of seeing Gini back will take a lot of time. But we shall see what Gini decides. I definitely think he should go with the surgery side. But I definitely keep you updated in the next couple of days when Gini Wijnaldum, as well as all the doctors around him, will come to a conclusion. So today we will talk about the names, the candidates which Thiago Pinto, Mourinho and the Fredkins will look at and decide to buy. Because yesterday before the match, Thiago Pinto got interviewed and he said that they are most probably going to buy a new midfielder. Now, what does that mean to me? That kind of means Felix is kind of still very close to Cremonese. Di Marzio is in fact confirming that tomorrow Cremonese will perform a very, very, very big assault to sign Felix. So Felix remains very close to Cremonese, and the second Felix leaves, that obviously leaves space for Belotti. So I do think this Wijnaldum situation didn't put an abrupt end to Belotti, but what I will definitely say is that this Wijnaldum emergency situation has definitely put an abrupt stop on the defender. And in fact, I would be in a position to say that the defender which Roma will buy will be postponed to January. That's not something which I am just saying. That's something which some journalists are debating about. This Wijnaldum emergency situation, I do think, will lead in Roma buying Belotti, but not buying a new defender. And at the end of the day, as I said before, I would much rather buy Belotti than a new defender. I think we need Belotti more than a new defender. I think with the defenders we have, yes, we could struggle a bit against top sides, but in these first two matches, yes, they were against slow teams, but I do think they performed extremely well. And I think Smalling is a very, 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 very special player in the defensive section. So, without further ado, if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about all the candidates. First candidate is Radja Nainggolan. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, no, don't get Nainggolan. Nainggolan is old, Nainggolan is 34 years old. His value is currently 3 million. Nainggolan will never be the player he was at Roma. And yes, you're totally right. Nainggolan will never re-become the player he was at Roma. But I am in a position to say that, I'll get a lot of criticisms from this, but out of all the candidates which I will name, I want Nainggolan. Now, you probably don't want Nainggolan, but the reason why I want Nainggolan is because I grew up with Nainggolan in my team. And part of this decision of me going with Nainggolan is partly due to this. I grew up with Nainggolan in my team. There are a lot of elderly Roma fans which grew up with Prime Totti in their team, which grew up with Bruno Conti in their team. I grew up with two very special players, Mo Salah and Radja Nainggolan. And out of the two players, the one which was my idol when I was a little kid was by far Nainggolan. I have at least 3 t-shirts with Nainggolan on the back of it. He was my idol. And the way he played, the spirit he had, the mentality he had, is all the reasons why right now, 5 years later, I am still picking Nainggolan as a first player. You know, it's as if you're asking a 12-year-old Real Madrid fan if he would take Ronaldo back in his team. It's exactly like that. I would take Nainggolan back in my team without even a question mark. But not because I would put the Nainggolan which I'm used to back in this team and he performs the same way, because it won't happen. You know, but it's just Nainggolan would sacrifice his life to get playing for Roma. And in this situation where Wijnaldum got injured, he has offered himself to help the team. It's these little details which just define a normal football player and a loyal football player. Nainggolan and Roma are the best duo you could find. Nainggolan's home is Rome. And, you know, when Wijnaldum got injured, you can go in his latest post on Instagram, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 Roma fans, as soon as Wijnaldum got injured, wrote to Nainggolan, "Come back home, ninja." And Nainggolan liked a lot of these messages. There is, without a doubt, and without even further ado, to say that Nainggolan wants to come back. Out of these four, I definitely put him in last position in probability to happen, because Mourinho loves players who are determined to play in football clubs. And in fact, Mourinho and Thiago Pinto will discuss about Nainggolan's current form and all of that in the next couple of days to kind of give him an answer, because he has proposed himself to Roma. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think it will happen. I will literally do anything the first comment in this video will say if Nainggolan comes to Roma. It is, to me, it's like a dream come true. But, you know, we all are different. Everyone has different opinions. And yeah, in these next couple of days, Nainggolan will get a response. Thiago Pinto is a bit more skeptical than Mourinho when it comes to this. But again, I'll say it again, I want Nainggolan in my team back again. Right, so he is the first candidate. Second candidate is, let me get his name, Allan, ex-Napoli player, current Everton player. Again, he's a player which didn't have many minutes this season. In fact, in the last couple of seasons, and he wants to leave. He was phenomenal at Napoli. The aggression Allan had, he was a very similar player to Nainggolan, but Nainggolan just, no one tops Nainggolan. He's very aggressive. He's a very good defensive midfielder. I think he needs a new experience because at Everton he's not getting many minutes. In fact, I definitely say after Nainggolan point, out of all these candidates, I would definitely go with Allan second. I think he's special. His value is 15 million. He's Brazilian. He's a midfielder. He's 31 years old. He's not too young. He's not too old. And I think he's aggressive. You know, Wijnaldum is more of an offensive player. Allan is more of a defensive player. And I think, yes, it could be argued that Roma should buy a more offensive midfielder just because we have Cristante, we have Matic, but these are all mixed. You know, we've got some attacking midfielders, we've got some defensive midfielders. So the second option is him. I've got one of my best friends who basically is a Napoli fan, and his idol, just like my idol was Nainggolan, his idol was Allan. Allan is a very aggressive player. He's not a box-to-box midfielder. I mean, he is. I won't lie, but he's way more of a defensive midfielder. And he's very, very aggressive. He's very aggressive. Allan is a midget. He's very, very, very small. But it's those kind of players which, at the end of the day, are the most aggressive. Like a Gattuso. Gattuso was a midget, but God, his aggression was great. So he is the second candidate. Third candidate is someone from Torino. It's Sasha Lukic. Now, let me talk about this Lukic situation, because Lukic isn't too bad, but he is more of an attacking midfielder than a defensive midfielder. What's happening with Lukic is that it's a lot of chaotic things are happening between Torino and Lukic. So, last weekend, the day before the first match of the season for Torino, Lukic was given the captain armband because Belotti left, Bremer left. He remained in that team, and he was given the captain armband. The day after that, so the morning of the first match of the season, Lukic had a disagreement with the Torino general director, oh, something to do with money again, something to do with his renewal of contract. And like 5 hours before the first match of the season, Juric, which is Torino's manager, got him out of the team, and there were serious, arguments between Lukic and the Torino board. And in fact, right now, he's not the captain anymore. Some things have been resolved. Lukic in the last game week, got subbed in the match against Lazio. So some disagreements have kind of overcome. But there are still some fragile moments and some fragile bonds between Lukic and Torino. He has expressed his will to leave after all that has happened. So I think this could lead Roma in, potentially accelerating this, because they know it's easier to buy Lukic. And in fact, I definitely say that out of all these candidates, Lukic is probably the easiest to buy, just because of this relationship, this recent relationship between him and his team. So Lukic is 26 years old. He's very young. He's 15. His value is 15 million. He's from Serbia, so that would add another Serbian player in our team. We just need Novak Djokovic up front, and then that would complete the Serbia duo. And then, he's a midfielder. He's a more box-to-box midfielder. Allan, Nainggolan are all very defensive midfielders. Lukic is more of a Fratesi kind of midfielder. More of a Wijnaldum. Yeah, more of a Wijnaldum current kind of midfielder. So he is definitely the third candidate. The fourth candidate is Radja Tameze from Verona. He's 28 years old, used to be an Atalanta Academy player. He's valued around 10 million. He's from France. Again, box-to-box midfielder. Has some limits of aggression, has some limits of attack. He plays for Verona. Now, again, Verona are selling a lot of their big players. They would rather not sell him because they're losing a lot of big players after Simeone. Apparently Barak is going to Fiorentina, so it's not going to be an easy deal because Verona don't want to let him go. But, Tameze, I think, is one of those players which, in fact, scored against us last season, could have a jump in his career, and that jump could be at Roma. So he is our last candidate. There are two more candidates which I haven't created an identity kit, just because, actually, there are three. Another one, I literally just came up with it. I didn't create the identity kit because I literally just came up with it. It's Grilic. He's a player which we talked about a lot this summer. Roma have always been interested in Grilic from Hoffenheim. And yeah, so he is definitely another candidate. And then two more candidates, which I didn't create an identity kit because I definitely think they're way harder to get. One of them is Zakaria. Juventus want to try and sign Paredes. Apparently Juventus are one step away from signing Arkadiusz Milik, by the way. They want Paredes in their midfielder, so they can sacrifice Zakaria to unlock the Paredes deal. So Zakaria could rotationally go around and fit in Roma, but I know that Monaco want him as well. So Zakaria is an option, but it's by far the hardest. And then Paredes, as people are saying in the chat, is another option, but I definitely say it's even harder than Zakaria. Juventus have got more money to spend than us, and Juventus are really interested in Paredes. Don't get me wrong, Paredes loves the club as well. He used to play for Roma, just like Nainggolan, in a lower level. He hasn't proposed himself to the club, but I would definitely say that Paredes is very keen if he has the chance to get back signing for Roma. He was a really good he was very young when he played for Roma. He was a very good young midfielder, and then he got sold. That was the spirit of our last owner, selling every big player we had. So yeah, I think this is the situation. We've got a lot of candidates. We've got Tameze, Lukic, Zakaria, Paredes, even though they're harder. We've got Grilic, we've got Allan, and we've got Nainggolan. We've got a lot of candidates. In these following days, Mourinho, the Friedkins, and Thiago Pinto will look at all these names closely. Benefits, disadvantages, advantages, create a list, and then when it comes to kind of economically, I think we shall see who the team picks. But Thiago Pinto yesterday, in a pre-match interview, has said that right now, after Belotti, in a way, Roma will shift the attention back to the midfielder, because with this Wijnaldum emergency situation, we kind of need another midfielder, and Mourinho would love to get another midfielder. And Mourinho has agreed to postpone the defender. Mourinho would much rather want Belotti up front and a new midfielder, and maybe postpone the defender choice to January. Because realistically speaking, as much as it would be great for us to buy Belotti, buy a new midfielder, and buy a defender, it ain't gonna happen. Keep your head away from all of these dreams. We've got like less than 2 weeks from the end of the transfer market. Actually, like less than 2 weeks till the end. We're not gonna buy 3 players. So I think it's already a lot if we manage to buy 2 of these players. So we're not gonna buy 3. And many people are saying that maybe the defense option is the option which which will be postponed. But yeah, let me see, ladies. Actually, let me create a poll. Let me create a poll on YouTube, and in these last couple of minutes, let me know who your pick is. I am gonna exclude Paredes and Zakaria, because I do think they're harder to get. Fratesi, again, Sassuolo have said they're not selling him. They already sold some very big players. Raspadori, Scamacca, they're not going to sell Fratesi. So Fratesi deal is 100% closed for this transfer window. Who would you rather have? Let's see. I'm going to put Nainggolan on. I'm going to put Lukic on. I'm going to put Allan on. I'm going to put Grilic on. I'm going to put Grilic instead of Tameze, just because I think out of the two, thinking about it, it's probably it's probably, out of Tameze and Grilic, I definitely say Grilic is easier, because Verona, as I said before, are not planning to sell him unless a big offer approaches. So let me know who you would rather have out of Nainggolan, Lukic, Allan, and Grilic. So yeah, someone is saying Witsel, Paredes or Witsel. Well, Witsel just joined Atletico Madrid, so I don't think it's gonna happen. Billy Gilmer, I don't think Billy Gilmer. Yeah, as Okoy Benson says, I don't think Billy Gilmer is a Mourinho type player. I think Nainggolan is a very Mourinho type player. The determination, the mentality, and I think, realistically speaking, right, will Mourinho allow Nainggolan to party all night or to drink a few beers? No. I do think it's, forget about the prime Nainggolan who used to play for Roma, because that ain't happening. But, oh, my alarm is going off. But I definitely say Mourinho can sort out Nainggolan, not bringing back his prime, but sort him out. And he can. I do think Nainggolan and Roma would give 101% at every single match. Plus, he's not going to come to be a starting player. He's there to be a substitution player. Because, yes, Gini is a starting player, but I don't think if Nainggolan comes, if Tameze comes, if Lukic comes, if even Allan potentially, all of these players will come to improve, to fill out that Gini place. But I really don't think they will be starting. The only players who I think could be starting players are Paredes, if he comes, Zakaria, if he comes, or Allan, if he comes. The others won't be starting players. And also, one thing which I will add, now that the midfielder kind of section with Gini we need to find a new midfielder, we're not going to buy a big player. This is an emergency, The big player is not going to be, we already bought big players. We are now not going to buy a big player in the midfielder section, because this is an emergency meeting. Imagine Among Us, it's an emergency meeting. So it's not about bragging, it's not about buying big names, it's an emergency. So none of these players are big players. So I'm going to read 2 comments and then I'll end the stream, lads. I think Nainggolan will play from his heart if he comes. 100% agree. 20 million for Paredes, pay it and get him, says Logical. Nainggolan was one of the players who made me fall in love with Roma. Same. I mean, I grew up with Nainggolan, as I said before. Experience and passion for the club, a better choice. It is so incredible that Nainggolan wants to come back to help us. Things like this, what makes Roma the most special club. The passion and love, guys, that have to play for us. It's so inspiring. Exactly. I really like Lukic too, honestly. He's creative and still works hard. He would be great for us in 26 who can help the squad for years. Juve's not meeting the 20 million demand for Paredes. Grilic would be amazing, says Eddie. Barca are interested in Belotti. He's gone now. If Barca, Real come for you, then you could not deny. I still think Belotti would prioritise Roma over Barcelona. Call me crazy. Barcelona have what? 5 attackers up front? They don't need Belotti. Mourinho will change and revive Nainggolan. This would never happen, but in terms of profile, I think it should be a Frankie de Jong type player. As a profile, yes, not as a player. Get de Jong out of your mind. So as a profile, yes. As a player, it won't be the same levels as de Jong. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me see quickly the results of the poll, and then I will end the stream. So, in the next couple of days, we'll talk about this, because this, as I said before, is an emergency. It was not planned at all. 31% say Allan, 27% say Nainggolan, 24% say Lukic, and 19% say Grealish. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you very soon. If you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, follow me on Instagram or within the orange box, and I will catch you very, very soon. Simon, out. I want Nainggolan. I want Nainggolan. Nainggolan, if you're watching this, please come to Roma. And Mourinho, Thiago Pinto, if you're watching this, please bring him to Roma. I'll catch you soon.